Good evening to all the participants and welcome back. I find the privilege in welcoming Dr. Arpita Chakraborty. She is a highly motivated and accomplished sustainability professional. Dedicated to driving positive change, she brings a wealth of experience encompassing consulting, academia, and non-profit leadership, demonstrating a commitment to fostering a more sustainable future. As the director of the Sustainability Drive Foundation, she is leading impactful initiatives and shaping the disclosure around environmental responsibility. Her prior role as a sustainability consultant at amalfirm.com shows her practical expertise and implementing sustainable practices. Dr. Chakraborty's academic background, including her tenure as an assistant professor at Ishan Institute of Management and Technology and a PhD in Human Resource Management from the prestigious National Institute of Technology, Durgapur, provides a strong foundation for her work. She is a true advocate for sustainability and a valuable asset to the field. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, Nivedita, for such an introduction. Good evening to all the participants of the FDP program. Am I audible to all?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Okay. So this is the second session of today's Atal FDP program. I will try to keep my slides, or I can my presentation an interactive one. Let me first present my slide. Can you see my slides?
Not yet, ma'am.
Are you able to see my slide?
No,
ma'am.
no, ma'am.
Just a minute. Here it is stop sharing your entire screen. Course Infinity Meter. I will try once again.
Ma'am, can
Yeah.
we share the slide on your behalf?
Let me try once. If not, then you can do so.
Definitely, ma'am. Ma'am, it's visible.
Visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So today's session, I will be talking about the non-government organization and climate change advocacy. As I promised you all that I will try to keep the session an interactive one. So first of all, I will start with a question. How many of you are having insurance plan? You can type your response. Insurance plans can be like any insurance, maybe it life insurance, health insurance, car insurance, or house insurance. Any type of insurance is. How many of you are having insurance? Any type of insurance plans? You can raise your hands and can answer, or you can type your response. It will be better that if you could raise your hand and respond, please. How many of you are having?
Yeah, I have term insurance. Yes.
Yes. Actually, I can't view myself. I am seeing my own slide. I cannot see me, or the participants here. Is there any provision like how I could see my other participants?
Ma'am, but we are clearly able to see your slides.
No, actually, my slide is
Ma'am.
also visible to me. I'm not able to see the participants.
Ma'am, you share the slide to me. I will present and then you.
Okay, then I have to see next slide for that case. Slide has been already sent to Moshmi.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, can you please stop sharing your screen so that we can share?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now I can see 4 people have raised their hands. They are having, among 60 people, 4 people, okay, having, okay, yes. Okay, okay, okay. Many are having insurance plans. Oh, that proves that I'm in the right place with the right audience. Those who are very much concerned about their future, right? So I feel that this particular topic will be of use because this is the audience which actually are concerned about their future. So when I'm talking about this climate change, the very first things which strike in our mind is heat waves, because as summer is approaching, and last year we have seen in summer, in the month of June, how heat waves have affected the lives of the Indian. Heat waves, kindly, I am not able to see the slides also. Please move the slide, next slide. It is the first slide, I guess. Anyone operating the slides?
Ma'am, next slide. Shall we move to the next slide?
Make it the slideshow version.
Actually, it's already in full mode from our side.
But I am not able to see. From in my side, it's something different. It's only the slide has been stuck. How many of you have insurance? The second slide has been stuck.
Okay, ma'am, we can move it. This slide, ma'am?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. You may proceed, ma'am.
See, nowadays heat waves are becoming more common and severe. As you have seen last year in the month of June, we have faced the extreme heat wave since 1901, and there are various reports regarding that. Many cities have recorded a temperature above 48 degrees Celsius since 2020. The most affected city was in Delhi. Probably Mungeshwar is the name of this particular city, and Ganganagar in Rajasthan. Delhi have experienced 52.9 degrees Celsius at the highest temperature last June. And actually, my slides are stuck. I am not able to see this one. This insurance, again, it have gone back to insurance only.
Ma'am, but it's already in heat wave slide. We have that slide on.
Just a minute, just a minute, just a minute. Just let me pin this one. My screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, ma'am, your video is visible.
Okay, I have my own slides also. I will otherwise I will take reference. If any problem, I will take reference from my own slide. I have a hard copy of that. Okay, so before we proceed, about heat waves, we must understand that what is heat wave is. Heat waves are a period of unusual high temperature. A high temperature as compared to what is normally expected over a region. heat waves basically differ from one region to other region. For example, the highest temperature in Delhi recorded will not be similarly will not be the similar temperature that will be recorded in Orissa or, for example, West Bengal or any coastal region. The temperature which are normal for Delhi might be in summer might be around 35 degree to 42 degree, but whereas in coastal region it will be much lower. So therefore the definition of heat waves, it differs from region to region. Now heat wave, normally in India, a heat wave is considered to be the maximum when it is more than 40 degrees Celsius in plains, whereas and 30 degrees Celsius in hilly areas. So at that time we say that that heat waves has struck to that particular region, specifically for our country. Now, last year in June, as I have already mentioned, that in 2024, June, in the month of June, we have an extreme recorded heat wave, which has been experienced in Delhi with 52.9 degrees Celsius, I have mentioned, and followed by many other cities. Next, Western and Southern India experienced 50% more heat waves versus previous 30 years. Now, what we see that the day are hotter, but even our nights are not escaping from these heat waves. If we explain about, like, if I give an example from my own experience, what I have seen. Previously, when we used to travel in Kolkata, in my childhood, I used to feel comparatively cold, you can say a cool breeze in the evening in Kolkata. If we are in motion, if we are traveling by train or any vehicle, and if we have kept our window open, we used to feel a cool air in the evening. But the same thing was not in Delhi. In Delhi, if we are moving in the evening, then also there is loo, the temperature is comparatively high. And you can see that in Kolkata, if anyone are there from Kolkata and Delhi, they can relate that in Kolkata, initially, earlier, what we used to do, we used to carry an umbrella in the morning to protect us from the sunlight, from the sun rays. And that was enough for us, because if we are protecting we are covering ourselves with an umbrella, we can protect ourselves from the sun rays. No other hot air used to affect us. But in Delhi, people used to cover themselves with churni or some cloth. They used to cover their faces with clothes. They have to cover their hands with hand gloves. They used to wear, they have to wear socks in the summer so that they can protect themselves from the high temperature in Delhi earlier. But nowadays, with the changing time, we have seen a change in the climatic conditions, and we have seen the change in the summer pattern. Right now, next point is okay. Now, toll on low-income and marginalized residents who work outdoors and live in crowded, poorly ventilated homes without clean drinking water or cooling system. So this means that those who are working in the those who are the marginalized communities, they have to work outdoors, and working outdoors in this extreme heat is actually affecting their health. There are several reports where it has been found that in the last 5 years, many people have been heat stroke and have faced heat stroke. In every day there was last year, in every day there was a death, a fatality of 2 people in the last summer season due to heat stroke. Not only the poor, I have even seen, like when I talked to my daughter when she come back from her school, many on the time she told now the temperature have started increasing, and they are reporting a regular fainting of children in the assembly. due to the increase of high temperature. And when they have diagnosed, when the children are being diagnosed, they have been found with a mild kind of heat stroke, or you can say they are fainting with the increasing high temperatures. So heat waves is a very important concern, and especially we are in the month of Feb, and probably from the month of March or April, we will, in fact, now onwards, the temperature have increased, and as it's a good news that we are going to face hotter weather in this particular season. And the thing is, it has been projected that this year will be much hotter than the previous year. And this is a continuous process. So in India, the heat waves days are projected to increase by 7 to 8 days in the year 2025 to 2015. And it will increase by 10 to 17 days in the near future, or the far future, 2076 to 2100. Like we have seen in the last year, it was 3 to 4 days where Odisha government have declared heat waves, and the schools have been shut down in the month of April, in the mid of April, I guess. A circular has been circulated, and the the schools were shut down, or the holidays were declared due to heat waves. But these are projected to increase by 7 to 8 days in coming future. Okay. Even one more thing I would like to say, I myself is a live example who is suffering from this heat wave. I do have a skin problem, and this has started, I guess, nearly 6 or 5 years back. I had a small patch on my hand. And initially, I don't care about this. I thought it's a normal thing. After 2 months, when there was an itching sensation, I went to a homeopathy doctor, and he simply gave me some medicine, and I came back and it was increasing. Then I have consulted nearly 4 to 5 doctors, allopathy doctors, and everyone said that this skin problem is due to a sun. And this is actually a sun allergy, and this is a cause due to heat waves or the changing climate pattern. So initially I didn't believe it. Like I felt like how could the sunlight, or how could the sun energy can be a enemy of my health, where we know that we get B12 from sun energy. So initially I didn't believe it. I don't listen to my doctors. I used to go in the morning. I used to visit to places outdoors. But now it has been in such a way that doctors have asked me to be indoor, or even if I am traveling, in at most cases, I have to cover myself. So now these heat waves have also affected my life, my whole life, because as I have consulted the last doctor, and he said that there is no other medicine, there is no medicine which will actually cure this problem. Only the medicine which actually is only medicine for me is that I have to avoid sun rays. So heat waves is actually in such a way. Next, I'm not able to see the slides, but kindly go to the next slide. I don't. Now, IPCC. Have you heard about IPCC? Anyone here in the audience, have you heard about IPCC?
International Protocol for Climate Change, ma'am.
Pardon, sir?
International Protocol for Climate Change.
No, it's Intergovernmental Panel
Panel.
on Climate.
Panels. Yeah.
Panel. It's not protocol, it's panel. Yeah. So this is an UN-led intergovernmental panel on climate change, which has given a clear message that this climate crisis is actually a human-caused climate crisis. I guess you can see a world map in front of you in my slide. There you can see that the map is marked with some red and orange colors, right? Are you able to see my slide?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
It's visible, right? So it is marked in red and orange color. Basically, IPCC, they have said those regions which are marked red, they lay high confidence on those red regions that they are contributing to hotter weather. The human means these countries or these economies are actually contributing highly to hotter weather, and those who are marked in orange color, they lay that these countries are actually contributing in a medium order. Matlab, they have a medium confidence on these countries, on these economics, that these are comparatively lesser contributor to the hotter weather. Now, if you see the red marks, you can see basically US, especially USA, the whole of the continent of Australia, South Africa, our country, India, China, and you can see the most of the even some European countries, most of the European countries, and most of the I guess all of the South Asian countries are actually contributing towards the hotter weather, according to the report been published by IPCC. Next slide, please. Okay, it is now. Okay.
Ma'am, it's in next slide.
It is now again visible. Okay. See, I guess means in 2015 there was a conference of parties which is known as 15th COP, Conference of Parties. Now, what is Conference of Parties? Conference of Parties are actually meeting where different countries meet on a single platform to discuss about the strategies they are taking to address the climate change, to address, or the strategies they are actually making to address the climate change. COP, 15 COP has been taken place in Paris, and that's why it is called as the Paris Agreement. So this COP, or the Paris Agreement, is actually led by UNFCCC, that is UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, right? So it's very small. I will see the graph from here. Okay. Okay. Now it has been led by UNFCCC, where the countries meet, and CCC has said that we have to keep our climatic condition, means the rise in temperature should not be more than 1.5 degrees Celsius, what they have discussed in the COP. And see, they said, okay, if you are not able, this after a lot of negotiations in that particular conference, they agreed, okay, if you are not able to keep it up to 1.5 degrees Celsius, at least it should be below 2 degrees Celsius. So this is what actually has been discussed in the COP among all the parties, and finally they said, they agreed, okay, we will be making certain strategies and we will make certain policies. All the countries agreed that we will make certain policies, and we will make some regulations so that we can control our rise in temperature, the climatic rise in temperature below 2 degrees, not even if not even 1.5 degrees Celsius, but at least 2 degrees Celsius, right? This has been actually agreed in that particular conference. Now, over the period of time, these countries came back, and the people came back, the countries came back, and they have designed, or you can say framed NDCs. What is NDCs? This is actually national determined contribution. These are the strategies which are framed by individual countries, based on their economic development, based on their economies, and based on the you can say based on their carbon emissions, because different countries are having different type of economics, are different in their economies, and they have different carbon emissions affecting the climate. So the NDCs that has been framed was different, which has been framed at their own end. They agreed, and historically, you know that carbon emissions, developed economies, they have contributed to carbon emissions the most. So their NDCs will definitely will differ from the countries with different economies and different carbon emissions pattern. So they agreed and they made their own NDCs. They have made some strategies. Okay, we will be, and what in UNFCCC they said, this 2 means we cannot go beyond 2 degrees Celsius, and whatever vision we have, 45% of the 45% of 2 degrees Celsius, whatever actions will be taken, 45% will be done before 2030, and the rest, and we will reach to net zero by 2050. So this was an action plan which has been laid by UNFCCC. Are you getting it? Hello?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Huh. So they have made certain strategies, and UNFCCC they say that we have to curb our carbon emissions by 45% till 2030, and we will reach to net zero by 2050. Now, can you guess, like, to what extent till date? Because every 5 years, the COP takes place in every year, and but after every 5 years, one budgeting is done. That is a national budgeting. One budgeting is done where they decide that what will be our 5-year plan, and what we have they made their targets, and what they have actually targeted so far, and what and a plan is made that how they are going to bring down the carbon emissions in the coming 5 years. Simple as 5-year plan. So have you any idea, like, whatever NDCC they have prepared, and I say that they should keep it below 2 degrees Celsius. Do you have any idea, like, to what extent they have actually curbed the emissions so far? They have targeted to keep it down by 45%. I'm saying in simple words, they have targeted to keep it down by 45%. Now, can you say, this is 2025. This year again they will meet for this is the last national budget before 2030, and they have they have decided, they have planned to curb down their carbon emissions by 45% by 2030. So do you can you say, like, to what extent they have curbed down their carbon emissions? Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. I don't know like clearly, but yeah, India target to achieve net zero till 2070.
Yeah, it's true. They have given that they will not be able to reach 2050 net zero till 2050. So they have given a net, means NDCs are actually means they are modified. So they have modified, and they say that we are not being able to meet our mission by 2050, the vision of net zero by 2050. So they have, that's fine. But can you say, by this time, our target was 45% till 2030, but to what extent they have curbed it down?
Sorry, ma'am.
45%. No, India, we know our country very much, or not only our country.
Ma'am,
Normally,
20%, ma'am.
Pardon?
20%.
20%. Okay. Any other answer?
30% in till 2030.
20 to 30%. Okay. Few more answers, please. Few more answer. I'm expecting few more answer. You can repeat the question. Okay. I said that India have targeted, or not India, all the countries have targeted to reduce down their carbon emissions below 2 degrees Celsius. And they have targeted this within this 2 degrees Celsius, 45% will be curbed down by 2030. And by 2050, it will be net zero. Right? So can you say among the target of 45%, what India has still reached or what other countries have reached? If you can take specifically India even. Okay, please move to the next slide. I don't have the next slide.
Ma'am, it's in next slide only.
Okay. See, the NDCs, whatever NDCs have been designed by all the countries, if all current plans are combined and if all the NDCs are fully emitted, whatever plans they have, actually whatever NDCs they have designed or they have framed, even if only 2.6% of the emission can be lowered down in compared to 2019. Only 2.6%. Can you imagine? Like, it's only in the plan they have designed such NDCs that it is only reducing down the carbon emissions by only 2.6%. And now can you say, like, if fully implemented, and frankly speaking, if we take globally also, that is not even 50% implemented. So there is such a loopholes in the plan itself. The countries are actually not addressing the climate change because they know this is very much cost incurring, and they are actually going for like of economic development, suppressing the danger of climate change. Okay, next slide, please. Is it rainfall and flooding?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is what I have said about heat waves. Now the next climate change danger first one is heat wave. Now I will be talking about the rainfall and flooding. See, heavy rain events have threefold since 1950, but the precipitation is declining. This means that there is an erratic pattern of rainfall, which we have seen. In the last monsoon, what we have seen, that there was heavy rainfall, flood have occurred in Mumbai and many places, but there was not a continuous process of rainfall. Sometimes the rain is very low that you even don't feel that it's a monsoon. And when the intensity of the rain, intensity means, I want to say the duration of monsoon, heavy rainfall has increased, whereas the intensity of the rain over a region for a particular time has increased, which is resulting into heavy rainfall and flooding. As we have seen in Mumbai, you can see a picture here. India Meteorological Department, they have reported that there were 2,632 very rainfall events and 473 extremely heavy rainfall events in 2024. After 2005, when we have seen this heavy rainfall which have occurred in Mumbai, and it have just massacred the lives of Mumbaikars. And many people, even I know people who have to leave their home, who actually took shelter and other their relatives' homes, in their friends' homes. The lower portion, the ground floor was completely submerged in the flood, underwater. So this was a fact which actually taking place due to climate change and due to heavy rainfall, and that's too in a particular period of time. Again, you will find a dry season with very low rainfall, and therefore we observe an erratic pattern of rainfall throughout the monsoon season last year. Right now, next one is snowfall and glaciers in Hindu Kush, Himalaya are diminishing. Okay, so the Hindu Kush has lost 23% of its glaciers since 1917. Since 1970, it has lost 23% of its glaciers, and it is projected that it will be losing 15 to 20% of the glaciers in near future by 2100. So what it will do if we don't take the climate actions right now, 90% of the glaciers will melt. And what actually it will lead to heavy disasters like flooding disasters. And over a period of time, the rivers, it will see that there is lack of water flow in summer, because what the glaciers do, it melts slowly, so it maintain a water flow in the rivers and the connected tributaries. So if glaciers melt at a certain point of time and 90% of the glaciers if melt away, it's completely water, and water will flow heavily during a period of time. And when it is required, it will be seen that the Ganga and the Indus, these rivers will experience very low water flow. And due to it, what will happen? Due to it, acute water stress will occur. Very acute water stress will occur. Conflict will occur, and people will largely migrate from one place to another place for their livelihoods. So, snowfall and glaciers. Reduction of snowfall and glaciers also have a heavy impact on human lives. One more thing, this is again a good news for all of us, that India will be facing more frequent and severe flooding in coming future. So we must be ready for that. And it is very important for our government to take immediate actions so that we can curb all these dangers, or you can say this effects on human lives, on not only human lives, on over the globe, on the planet, you can say. Now, okay. Sorry. Okay. Next slide. Next slide is about
cyclones in the Bay of Bengal.
Okay. See, cyclones in the Bay of Bengal is projected to be double by 2070 and 2100, between 2070 and 2100. The cyclones or the storms are characterized by very fast wind speeds, but the greatest storm surge will impact the rising sea levels. Since 2019, we have seen that India have faced 27 cyclones, among which 23 cyclones have minimal impact, whereas 4 has been characterized Among these, 4 has been characterized as the extremely severe cyclones impacting the regions, the local livelihood over them. Mostly impacting those regions like Orissa, Gujarat, West Bengal. We have seen since 2019, a cyclone Fani, cyclone Tote, Biparjoy, and Amphan have actually impacted the lives of the people over there and costing a lot of billions and millions of amount to the government. So cyclone is also a very important concern in climate change, and especially the coastal community who lives in a low-lying area, they face a permanent inundation. They have to face a lot of, as you have seen, basically we are from Orissa. We have seen the coastal areas in Orissa, especially Puri, Bhitarkanika, parts of the coastal, Gopalpur, means the Ganjam area. They face a lot of cyclone. It's a very cyclone prone state, and the regions are very much cyclone prone. Though Orissa government with its NDM, means its National Disaster Management, through its National Disaster Management, they're working very well. After the super cyclone, they have worked a lot. Means their NDRF team, they have worked very proficiently and efficiently to move the people, the local people, whenever there is a forecasting of cyclone, they have moved the people from the coastal regions to shelter homes, and they have tried to have some backup plan. So cyclone prone area, but at the same time, Gujarat, West Bengal was not that much, very much ready. So during Amphan, they have approached Orissa government for their NDM team, that is NDRF team, to support them in the Amphan, in Amphan crisis. So this is again a concern among the climate change. Cyclone is again a concern among the climate change pattern. Okay, next slide. Next slide. Is it cost?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the global cost, now let us talk about the economic cost of climate change. See, the global cost of climate change is projected between $1.7 trillion and $3.1 trillion per year by 2050. This has been projected, right? See, with significant impacts, including extreme weather events, rising sea levels, agricultural losses, displacement of population, what I have said in that people will be migrating because of the climate change. They have to look forward for their livelihood. So they need to migrate for their livelihood. This will all substantially contribute to the economic and social damage. Now, next one is hitting the Paris Agreement goal of net zero. This has been already discussed. That Paris Agreement goal of net zero carbon emissions will require investment in a green transition worth 2% to 3% of the world output until 2050. So for this green transition, the economic cost will be 2 to 3% of the world output. And for such a transition, countries, the developing economies have to rely or have to depend on the developed economics. And this is again a challenge for India, because you can see the global scenario. It's not very soothing. Like we can believe on the developed economics where they will come and help us in near future. Though climate action is not a sole action, but still, economies, and especially the developed economies, are actually running after their own development, industrial development, suppressing, or you can say neglecting the climate change or the actions that to be taken for climate change. Next is a World Economic Forum study estimates that agriculture output is estimated to drop by 16% in the next 5 years. It will shape off 2.5% of the GDP. And another report last year, which has been given by the Global Construction Consultancy, CBRE, that estimates nearly 50% of the country's infrastructure will be at risk due to extreme weather conditions or extreme weather events. And the Central Bank of India, it has also recognized that global warming can upset financial stability and growth. Let us understand this through our next slide, how it is actually affecting, how the financial stability and the growth of our country will be endangered. Please to the next slide. See, in this slide, what you can see that the developed economies, the GDP loss to the developed economies by 2050 is for US, it is 7%, and for Canada, Britain, and France, it is 6 to 10%. For the developed economies. But if we are talking about the developing nations, especially the South Asian countries, we can see that GDP loss for Malaysia, Philippines, and Thailand will be 20%, whereas India will be accounted for 35% of GDP loss. It's very alarming. By 2050, 35% of GDP loss will be witnessed, followed by Indonesia with 40% GDP loss. Can anyone among you say like why Indonesia will observe or witness a 40% drop in their GDP by 2050?
Because of lot of earthquakes, ma'am.
Lot of earthquakes, okay. And what is why their GDP will be affected?
Because
Or what their GDP is?
Earthquakes
Sir,
will have
actually, I would like to know actually on what is their main source of income?
jute.
Okay.
So earthquakes will have a distortion over the coastal line. So they will lose their jute production. So automatically the export will go down, and finally the GDP will go down, ma'am.
Okay, this is one point. One more important point in Indonesia is tourism also. Like Indonesia, especially part of Indonesia, Bali, and many parts of Indonesia, the base on tourism sector. If climate change takes place, the tourism sector will be affected, again, reducing down the GDP. This is again another perspective. It's not a whole. Jute is another. The industrial sector is there. As you have already said, the earthquakes are there. So there are various reasons which will actually lead to the decrease in the GDP loss of Indonesia. Please move to the next slide.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, see, climate change is not a sole action. If I'm addressing climate change, it will be not done. Basically, it's a collective action. Holistically, we all have to address climate change. It's not only one individual, it's not only one party, it's not only one economy or one country, one nation, it's the whole world who have to collectively address this problem, this issue. And already SDG 17 that it have emphasized on the partnership and collaboration among various stakeholders, including the local government, the national and international government, the institutions, be it educational institution, the civil society, actually, for which I'm here to explain about the role of civil society or NGOs. The civil society, they take into consideration the business organization, be it public, be it private, and the community and the local community itself. So it's a whole approach. Everyone should approach collectively to address the climate change, and only the action can be taken. The changes can be, there can be certain fruitful changes we can observe only when we collectively addressing this particular issue. So we have already seen that in Paris Agreement, means Paris Agreement, that UNFCCC is actually a prime example of collective action, how they have framed NDCs and how all the countries are joining hands and trying to address climate change on a global scale by reducing down the emissions and by working towards climate goals. Now, again, business organization, the companies, they are also trying to reduce down their carbon footprint through by adhering to different type of industrial standards and compliances, through supply chain sustainability, and definitely by investing in renewable energy. Next is the local communities. The local communities are organizing campaigns for planting trees, for conserving water, for managing waste, and many other plans for disaster management to adapt to this climate crisis. Now, finally, it is about NGO, the civil society or the social organizations, which are organizing various times, how NGOs are actually contributing to climate change, action to climate change. I will discuss it in coming slides. Okay, next slide. Before we continue, we must know what actually we understand by the term non-government organization. See, the non-government organization, according to the World Bank, it refers to non-profit organization or non-government organization. It pursues certain activities for relieving the suffering of the people, promoting the interest of the marginalized communities, protecting the environment, providing them the basic needs. As we have seen, the SDG 17 are all actually which come on either the 17 goals which has been laid down by under Sustainable Development Goals actually either address the social goals or the environmental goals or the economic goals. So all these goals, actually, these are a matter of activities or a concern for an NGO. These are they are the function of an NGO. These are actually the function of NGO for, and here we will be particularly talking about climate change, but basically NGOs are those organizations which address these three environment, social, and economic goals. Now, these organizations are a part of government. It have a legal entity, it have a legal status, and they are registered under specific act. Now, in India, NGO are classified and registered under three different acts. One is Indian Trust Act. The other one is Society Registration Act and the Companies Act. So these are actually registered. NGOs in India is registered under these three acts. Now, let us understand what are the difference. Let us understand now what are the difference between how the registration process takes place. See, if you are registering as a trust, as an NGO, if you are registering as a trust, you should have a minimum of two or three trustees, right? Trust, they are an NGO, they work for social cause. They have to submit an audit report, but they do not have a need to submit any annual return. Society is again an NGO which is registered under Society Registration Act 1860. Here, they have a minimum requirement of 7 members to registered under Society Act as a society. and they also work for a social cause. But here, what they work for, they work as a society. Normally, it has been seen like society. They work for educational public awareness purposes and for research and development, etc. And what is Section 8 company? See, since Section 8 company is a very new concept, actually Section 8 company is registered under the Companies Act 2013. Just a minute. It is registered under 2013 Companies Act. How it differ from the normal companies is that in companies they work with certain profit intent, but here the Section 8 company, they cannot share the profit. The revenue earned by the company cannot be shared as a profit. That has to be reinvested by the company for the operational purposes. That means we can reinvest that amount for expanding our company. We can reinvest that amount for the social cause, for activities we are doing, but that cannot be enjoyed by the directors or the shareholders. One thing I missed, in Section 8 company, there should be 2 minimum directors and 2 shareholders to be formed. Got it? And but in every cases, be it a society, be it a trust or a Section 8 company, they should have a social intent. That's how an NGO can differ from the other companies or other organizations. Next. Next slide, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I can see, but it's very small. Okay. Okay, the very first, now let us know how NGO contribute to climate action. The very first point is raising awareness and education. See, through campaigns, media outreach, community engagement, NGO raise awareness among the public about the climate action, about the change in the climate. For example, they organize certain campaigns, some seminar type of thing also, where they invite people, the public, where people, as simple like this, today we are actually organizing a conference. This is simply a FDP program. NGO can do the same way, be it offline, be it online. NGO do also have you can say the right to organize seminars, to organize conferences for raising awareness and educating the general public about climate change and the actions that to be taken for climate change. Next is grassroots project. NGO implement various grassroots projects like planting tree, you can say, then renewable energy adaptation, waste management program, recycling. Last day there was, I came to know there was a session on recycling. A recycler have given one presentation. So these are NGO, what they do, they act as a bridge between a recycler and the collection of waste. So they act as a bridge here, and they in this way they actually addressing the grassroots necessity of the society through various projects. Next one is policy advocacy. NGO, they lobby with the government. They lobby with government at local, national, and international levels to enact a strong climate policy and agreements. This actually, in my coming slides, I will be explaining these all things with certain case studies and examples. So I'm not going very deeper into this because I have only half an hour left with me. Next is research and data collection. NGO also participate in research and data collection activity. How they collect data? They collect data from the grassroots. They reach to the population and collect the data either through various techniques, either like through survey, like questionnaire, or they interview the people, or they go for focus group discussion as per to the need of the objective of their project, or as per the need of the as per the need, they actually develop and implement certain techniques to collect the data and make according research. Next one is capacity building. Okay, capacity building is basically training, providing training and development programs through which they train the people. Like here, a small example I would like to give. One Daksham, I guess the NGO name is Daksham. They it's an NGO from Maharashtra, and they train the farmers of the place how sustainable farming can be undertaken, how one can adopt the agricultural practices sustainably. Not only that, they inform the farmers about the government initiatives which has been launched by the government for agricultural purpose, for the farmers, for the benefit of agriculture and the farmers. So capacity building is basically educating and training or developing the skill of the people. It may also occurs in educating the educators. That is, in many ways we have seen that various NGOs like Pratham is also again an NGO who are actually educating educating various teachers, like teachers from government institutions, primary schools in the rural areas. They are actually delivering and training those teachers about value education, about computer literacy, and this way how these teachers is actually delivering the lectures to the children very effectively, because these teachers in the rural areas, in government or schools, they are not properly trained. And since they are not properly trained, it is very difficult to expect that they can train, or they can show a proper path to our future generations. So again, NGO is taking this responsibility. Last is monitoring and accountability. NGOs monitor government actions and corporate practices related to climate change, holding them accountable for this. So they put up, normally this one also I will explain. I remember very okay, I will explain in my coming slides, like how NGO is advocating policies and how they are monitoring the practices of corporates. If please come to the next slide. Okay, the TERI is you can say a globally recognized research institute, which is actually located in Delhi, and it particularly focused on sustainable development, climate change, and energy solutions. So one of its most influential campaign or one project is known as the Lighting a Billion Lives campaign. It has been launched in 2008 to address the energy poverty in India's rural areas. What they did, they have introduced solar lanterns, home lighting system, and microgrid to replace the kerosene lamps and inefficient energy sources. They have introduced one solar lantern, and they have reached to most of the people of among 23 states, they have reached where they have reduced down the use of kerosene lamps. I don't know you have seen or not. Nowadays, kerosene is not available very easily, I have found, because when I have sometimes even for any purpose, if I have asked my maid that whether you are getting kerosene and all these things, so they are not availing kerosene right now. So the usage of kerosene is actually diminishing, and many NGOs are actually working behind it. As one example I have given, like Terry, it is working this particular campaign, which is known as Lighting a Billion Lives. They are working with this, which actually tried to reduce down the kerosene lamps, or those you can say, and implement energy efficient appliances, so that they can cut down the carbon emissions and the indoor air pollution. So, and one more thing, they are also empowering the rural women by creating livelihoods in energy, solar energy distribution. Basically, they are actually creating this. For this purpose, they have trained the women in those regions who are actually working in distribution of this kerosene, in distribution of this solar lamps. So at the same time, they are addressing the climate and at the same environment, and at the same time, they are also addressing the social development. Moreover, they are educating and enhancing productivity by providing evening lighting for students and businesses in many rural areas. Till date, electricity, or you can say power, is a problem. So in this way, the solar enabled lighting have improved the livelihood, or improved the you can say the environment for the children over there, who can study properly, and we can get a better future. And we have seen that many good, bright, brilliant students are coming out from the rural areas. So NGOs are working on both for these purposes. Okay, next slide. Next slide is about Center of for Science and Environment. I have said that I will be talking about the advocacy, policy advocacy. So here, CAC is one of the most, CAC is the full form of CAC is Center for Science and Environment, right? It is also again an NGO. They are working for protecting and conserving the environment. One of the most impactful intervention of CAC is curbing the air pollution in Delhi. Which has consistently ranked among the world's most polluted cities. Delhi is one of the most polluted cities in the world right now. Now, how they did so? First of all, they have laid a campaign where the transport, the public transport, be it bus, be it auto or taxi, they have transited, or they have moved from the diesel enabled vehicles to CNG public transport, or you can say to CNG vehicles. So this is one of the campaign which has been laid down by CAC. Now, how it impacted? It has reduced down the particle pollutant of Delhi by I guess by 63%, 58%, and one more thing, Delhi has become the very first city in India who have adopted CNG public transport across the city, and the very first on large scale. And this is the very first city which it has adopted. Next one is implementation of Bharat Stage 6 emission standards. What is Bharat stage emission standards? CAC has a stricter vehicular emissions norms, and it basically what happened. The transport system since 2005 has been seen that the transportation, they are actually running vehicles which is BS 2, 3 or lastly 4, I guess post 2009 2010 BS 4 has been adopted. But to cut down the emission rate, CAC pushed a stricter action and have pushed the government so that they mandate and apply BS6 Bharat stage, that is the full form of BS6 emission standard, which have directly, it has made a revolution that the vehicles have directly leapfrogged from BS4 to BS6. And it has resulted in a 63% cut down of carbon emissions in the city. Next one is odd even vehicle scheme in Delhi. One has been adopted in 2016 and the other one has been adopted in 2019. The vehicles with odd numbers will be moving on roads on 3 days of a week, and the other alternative 3 days, the vehicles with even number will be operating or will be traveling on road. So again, with this, it has been found that CAC was able to cut down the traffic congestion, reducing down the pollution in the city, reducing down the carbon emissions to a great extent. Now, CAC have advocated one another program which is known as National Clean Year Program, and this has been adopted in the year of 2019, and it is still carried on. And it has been found that they are targeting to reduce the further emissions by 20 to 30% in 2025, and they have made a network, you can say a monitoring network for monitoring the air quality of the city and trying to curb the carbon emissions, and also tackling the pollution rate over 122 cities, not only in Delhi, over 122 cities over the country, across the country. One thing I have said that I will be giving an example of, I will giving a case what CAC have done, that is about Coca-Cola. As you have heard that Coca-Cola, preservatives has been found in Coca-Cola to an unacceptable limit. So CAC interfered, and they said that they have submitted a report, and they have even appealed to the higher courts and even to the Supreme Court, and they have submitted the report that Coca-Cola actually they consist higher rate of you can say higher rate of this pesticides, can you high rate of pesticides, I guess, pesticides, which has been found in Coca-Cola. And over a period of time, it has been found that when they approached the Supreme Court, they said they released Coca-Cola on the basis that the SCI report that they are still matching the country's, you can say, the food standards. So they have been escaped from the courts. But later, it has been found that the Kerala Higher Court over there, they again reported on another higher court claiming that not only Coca-Cola is actually using the fresh water from the river, and in this way, the water level of the rivers are going down, are decreasing. So again, they put a petition in Kerala court, and but this time, what happened? Kerala court actually they have forwarded this case, and later on, what happened? Later on, Coca-Cola have acted on their standards, acted on their climate actions. They have made a lot of improvement in their product. They have embarked on the on cleaning, on, you can say, the cleaning the rivers, so that they have made a standard where they can increase the water level, which actually has been used by them for their production. And over a period of time, within 5 to 6 years, it has been found, and they have reported that the water level, the water they have used, the fresh water that has been used from the rivers, is actually again increasing. So we can see that the NGOs, various NGOs, they are actually trying, and they are advocating the policy. They are monitoring, you can say, they are monitoring, and they are making the private organization accountable for the actions they are taking, and if it is not in the advantage of the lives or for the society. Okay, next slide. Okay, next slide is about grow billion trees. This is actually another NGO from Orissa. As last time when this cyclone Dana has hit Bhitarkanika, it has been found the speed of the cyclone was 120 per hour, 120 kilometer per hour. It was a super cyclone. It was an extremely severe cyclone, and it has hit Bhitarkanika. And what has been expected that it will actually hamper the lives of that particular region. But it has been found that the mangroves restoration over there have created a natural barrier, and it has not affected the region what actually been expected or projected beforehand by the administration. Grow Billion Trees is one of the NGO who is actually working for the restoration of the mangroves in that region. There in Bhitarkanika area, actually people have deforested these mango strips for prawn cultivation. And it has been taken place more than 5 years. People are cutting the mangroves and they are cultivating prawns to earn money. And this is the reason why actually Bhitarkanika, every time the people of the Bhitarkanika are facing the severe impact of the cyclone, which are affecting this coastal region. So this is again an achievement. This time it has been found that that it has not affected massively that particular region. And even after cyclone funding, Grow Billion Trees have restored 200 hectares of mangroves. That's the reason what I said that in this year, means last year, when Dana have hit Bhitarkanika, it has not affected that area very much. Achha. Next slide, please. Achha. Now to promote NGOs, what actually the government is doing. NGOs, the non-government organizations, first of all, I would like to know how many of you have heard about social stock exchange? social stock exchange.
Yes, ma'am. It's social stock exchange.
Okay. Social stock exchange. Social stock exchange is a stock exchange, as we know about BSE and NSE, where the business organization are enlisted, where the investors and the business organization meet to raise funds. Here in social stock exchange, the social organization or those non-government organization and non-profit organization, this is a platform where they can raise funds from the general public. This fund can be raised similarly like through debt, through mutual funds, and through equity. So this is actually a platform which is providing the social organization, which was no so far there. Actually, they are this social government is actually promoting those organizations which work for social intent, so that they can get fund to run their operations, to work better. Because so far we have heard that NGOs are not able to work properly because of lack of fund. So lack of fund. One more thing, it has been seen that many of the NGOs, they are registering, but they are not actually working for the social purpose. Another thing, so they are not working for the social purpose, though they are showing it's a social purpose, but there are certain gains which is behind that, and therefore the actual intent, what this government is actually intending to, that is not fetched. So social stock exchange not only provide a platform for raising funds, but also a platform for transparency. A platform for transparency, a platform for accountability. For example, what fund they are actually raising, where this fund are being utilized, their utilization prospects, and how these funds, and they have to properly you can say report on their actions. The social stock exchange is this is again regulated by Securities and Exchange Board of India, that is SEBI, and it is actually a bridge where the organizations who are working for social impact can alongside have a financial, you can say, financial support from the investors who are willing to support this, who are willing to support those organizations who are working for social cause. So therefore the major objective of SSC is to obtain transparency and accountability between the funding channels and its utilization prospects. Acha. Please move to the next slide. Acha, have you heard about this boiling frog syndrome? Anyone who have heard about boiling frog syndrome? Boiling frog syndrome. Next, boiling frog syndrome is actually a circumstance, a condition when it is said that when you are putting a frog in a boiling container, in boiling water, a container which contains boiling water, it will leap out, it will jump out immediately. But when a frog is kept in a soothing water, in a normal temperature, in a tempered water, and slowly the container is heated up, the frog feels comfortable in it. And the frog feels the heat do not affect the frog, do not affect the frog comfortability. So the frog remain in the container, and over a period of time, it die in the container. Climate change is something like a boiling frog syndrome. We are actually habituated with the climatic change. The climatic change in the last few decades, especially in the last decade, if we observe, we can see that climate is changing. The weather is becoming hotter and hotter day by day. Rainfall, erratic patterns of rainfall are seen. Heavy rainfall there. In some season, it has been seen that rainfall is very less. In some season, it has been seen that rainfall is massive. And it is seen that rainfall at a particular time is massive while not properly distributed throughout the season. Cyclones, or number of cyclones are hitting, has already been explained that since 2019, cyclones are hitting, 27 cyclones hit Indian coastal areas. Many being super cyclones, many with extreme and severe impact. Many losses to lives, many losses to our economic prosperity, and how this actually impacting the climate change is actually impacting not only the human lives, the whole environment, including plants, including animal lives, the whole planet. So we must always try to put we should always try to put climate or environment before profit. The whole world is actually running after profit, running after making money. They are actually thinking about their hedonic goals, their comfortability. They are actually trying to look after their gains, but those gains are in shorter term. If we don't leave, for example, we at the very first slide, I say that we do always have an insurance. Why do we have an insurance? We actually protect our future. We cover our future. We cover our future because we don't know how our future will be. Climate action is actually, climate is also our future. If the climate is not, if the environment is not that soothing, where we can stay, where we can actually save our lives, we are not healthy enough, then the money we are actually earning will be of no use. So I expect that we all, the participants who are attending the program today, will definitely act now on climate, and from now onwards, not now, I hope that you are already taking action to curb these you can say the issues regarding climate in various ways, in certain ways at your personal levels, how you could do so. And I hope that we can collectively reduce down the impact of climate change patterns in our lives. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, ma'am. But we do have two questions from the participants. So the first question is, many NGOs work on time-bound projects dedicated by donor interest, which may not align with long-term climate strategies. How to deal with it?
One more time.
Many NGOs work on time-bound projects dedicated by donor interests, which may not align with long-term climate strategies. How to deal with it?
Yes, for this I have already said that the social stock exchange, yes, the donor interest, not the donor interest, the one who is actually funding that project, they try to make it within a time. It's very true. And many a time it happens that the NGO have to submit their report and is on halfway and cannot address the long-term goals. For this only, the social stock exchange have come into the role, and so that these NGOs are accountable, and so that they can the donor interest are also being seen along with the, because these social organizations are actually they are registered, and they are formed based on sustained social intent. We cannot leave them on a halfway. And since we are leaving it halfway, and that's why actually certain problems are arising, we are not completing it properly. because there is always a pressure from the external parties, those who are actually funding that within certain time this ought to be done. So for that reason only we are having this social stock exchange, and where they will be accountable. And how it could be dealt at the present moment, actually there are third party intervention also. Only the donor interest are not only seen. The third party intervene and they submit the report only and when they find that the standards, the environmental standards which has been laid by different institutions are met. So accordingly, they have to submit the report. So this is not only that, there is a third party intervention also. They submit the report accordingly.
Ma'am, there is another question. Powerful industries and policymakers may obstruct NGO initiatives that threaten their financial interest, whether government intervention with strict law is required.
One more time.
Powerful industries and policymakers may obstruct NGO initiatives that threaten their financial interest, whether government intervention with strict law is required.
See, already there are corporate social responsibility mandates. So the powerful organizations, they have to be regulated by the CSR, the corporate social responsibility being laid by the government. So if you have seen that all the powerful institutions, organizations, they have their own foundation, own laid foundation, which actually work for the social organization. Frankly speaking, small NGOs, new NGOs, they actually face problem like they are not able to meet the standard due to lack of fund. But that is not they get a threat, because there are already government regulated mandates, but certain amount of their total revenue has to be go as in CSR, that is for corporate social responsibility.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this insightful session. Dear all, we are closing for today and we will meet you all via the same link. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good night.